giants and ghouls and ogres and ghosts. The creepier the creature, the better the story. Now prepare to meet the strangest beasts of all, a talking skull, dancing bones, a witch who sucks blood. Some of these stories are as ancient as the night. Others are 20th century creations. Many begin in Africa, and several are African American originals, a delicious blend of two cultures. A few came from Europe, but whatever the origin, each has an African flavor, and each will give you the cold shivers. For centuries, storytelling has been a vital part of Black African culture. There are over 250,000 folktales in Africa. The Ashanti people alone have a storehouse of 3,600 tales. African stories are usually told from memory, so the performance of the tale is as important as the story itself. And unlike the stories we are used to hearing, many African stories are open-ended. The tale is left unfinished so that the audience can discuss its meaning. Thus, the stories provide both amusement and instruction. When Africans hear how clever Anansi tricked the other animals in the forest, they laugh with delight, but they also listen to the hidden message tucked inside each tale. Don't be too proud, one story warns. Don't be greedy, cautions another. African folktales teach cooperation and pass wisdom on from one generation to the next. Monster tales are especially important to the education of African children. A scary West African story reveals the danger of losing control. A girl loves to dance, but she dances so wildly that she doesn't even notice when her partners turn into gleaming skeleton heads. Such stories teach the rules of good conduct. Behave, they warn, or else. Beginning in 1619, slave traders brutally captured hundreds of thousands of Africans, brought them to the New World, and sold them into forced labor. For the next 260 years, slaves were bought and sold in the seaports of South America, throughout the Caribbean islands, and up and down the North American coast. Everything was stolen from the slaves, their freedom, their family, their names, but no one could steal their memories. They clung to the familiar stories of the homeland and retold them to children and their children's children. For the enslaved Africans, storytelling was as natural and necessary as breathing. Once in the New World, the slaves told stories for entertainment when there was little else to cheer them. Because they heard the same tales over and over, everyone knew how they ended. Amusement came from the way the story was told. The storytellers continued the African traditions of weaving songs, jokes, and dance into the tales. And the best storytellers used an actor's voice to bring each character to life. A witch laughed with a high scream. The devil spoke in a slow, raspy whisper. Following African custom, the slaves joined the story by singing, laughing, and correcting the tale teller. Audience participation meant that the stories were shared by all. Everyone was equal. No one is above the other. To a people living in bondage, the sense of equality was especially important. Over the years, the slaves altered the stories to reflect their new surroundings. If the story featured an African yam, they changed it to an American sweet potato. Because there were no leopards in the New World, a tale about a leopard became a tale about a horse. In the southern United States, Anansi, the trickster spider, became the devious rascal, Rabbit, and the stories were no longer told in an African language. This marked the biggest change of all. Africa is a vast continent of 4,000 languages, and the slaves stole people from many different nations. Although the captives shared some common African words, they could barely understand each. Although the captives shared some common African words, they could barely understand one another. Those who did speak the same language were forbidden to talk in their native tongue. So slaves who survived the horrors of the voyage to the New World also endured painful loneliness. they literally had no one to talk to. To make matters worse, a few slaves knew the language of their owners, depending on the seaport where a ship landed. Slaveholders might speak English, French, Spanish, or Portuguese. To survive, the slaves needed to communicate. They mixed African words and rhythms with their captors' languages, and a new kind of speech was born. This Creole language allowed the slaves to understand one another and to understand the masters. But best of all, it kept the masters from completely understanding the slaves. By sprinkling their speech with African words, the slaves kept private their feelings, thoughts, and plans. A great advantage, since the masters might use this information against them. Whenever the storytellers landed in the New World, they created a lyrical speech that sounds almost like singing in Suriname, South America. This speech is called taki taki. On the Georgia coast, Black English is called Kichi, probably from the Kitsi, a language and tribe in Liberia, West Africa. On the South Carolina coast, it is called Gullah, a name that may derive from the language spoken in Angola, West Africa. The Gullah storytellers who lived on the coastal sea island of Georgia and South Carolina led isolated lives. Separated by marshes and swamps, they had little contact with the more Americanized slaves on the mainland. And every time the masters brought in newly captured slaves, there was a fresh transfusion of African culture. These slaves were highly desirable to the plantation owners. Recent arrivals from Africa would be less likely to rebel, since they couldn't speak English. So the Gullahs, or Golas, as they called themselves, were able to keep their African ways long after other blacks had adapted to white culture. Gullah speech contains many words from African language, including ones whose sound match their meaning. Pack, 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 meaning knock, and biddy, biddy, a small chicken. African ways of using words appear in Gullah. Singular and plural nouns are the same, as in, this little boy had 3 dogs. Phrases are repeated as in, plat eye, sure as you're born. The words he, she, and we take the places of his, her, and our. In most Black English folk tales, including those told in Gullah speech, the reader seems to be part of the story, because the tale-tellers kept the African custom of speaking in the present tense. The story sounded as if it happened today. Hurry, the words seemed to say. The monster is chasing you right now. To bring this terrible creature in this book to life, you need only to read or tell the tales. The stories are fun to read alone, if you dare. Or if you find yourself reading aloud to a brave friend, remember that you follow the footsteps of some of the greatest storytellers in the world. For thousands of years, they have told tales after dark, their faces lit by an airy glow of firelight, to set the stage as they would. Turn off the lights, burn a candle, play scary music to get in the mood. Just as good storytellers everywhere do, make the story your own. Use your whole body to interpret the tale. Writhe and wriggle and moan and groan. Speed your voice up and slow it down. Make faces, beat on a table, point at your audience. When it feels right, add something new or leave something out. And don't forget to add the best part of the supernatural story, the scream. Gullah, goblins. The Hag, South Carolina Sea Islands. One time, there were 2 men who grew up best friends, and they married 2 women just the same time. Time passed, about 3 weeks. One friend asked the other friend, "When you wake up in the night, is your wife with you?" "Yes, man. Why?" "Well, I go to bed and lay down. There she is. If I wake up about 1 o'clock, there she ain't. When I wake up later, there she is again." Man, you must be married with a hag." "What is that? How do they do?" "If you marry with a hag, she gets up and slips out in the skin and hide it under the stair steps or back door steps. And when you come back, back down. Now when your wife go, you get up and look under the staircase. If you find she's skin, you salt and pepper is good. Some like your salt and pepper fish when you going to fry. If she haggin', she sure left the skin, and if you salt in, she can't come back in. The man think about what ye friends say. Then one night, sure enough, about 1 o'clock, out he wife sneak and off she go. The man make out like he sleep, but soon as she is gone and he hear the door shut, he go and search under the staircase and the doorstep. Sure enough, he find his wife's skin all ball up in the corner. So he salt and he pepper it, and he go back to bed. Then he lay there. When he wife come home, by, he hear, skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this me. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this me. But she can't get back in because it's smart. Her same like salt do when you cut your finger. So she wind up in a sheet and lie down. When the sun rise, she don't get up. Time for breakfast. No breakfast. She talk under the sheet and say, I sick. Still she don't get up. So the man cook he own breakfast and say, I going for the doctor. But she keep on talking under the sheet. She say she don't need no doctor. Doctor costs too much. Can't spare the money. She insists and insists he get no doctor. So the man make like he going to hoe the taters. But instead of that, he hide and peep through the shutter and hear, skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this me. Skin, skin, you know me. Skin, skin, this me. But she skin ain't no she, and won't come on no how. So she wrap herself back up and go back in the bed. By, the sun and his stomach say it going on 12. So the man came in for food, but before he come, he go get the witch doctor. They come and find the woman still twisted all up and talking under the night, under the kippers. So the doctor, he say, what ails you, woman? Then she allows there ain't nothing wrong. And they talk backwards and forwards till the doctor done lost patience. And first news, you know, he jerked off in the sheet. And there she lied, just as red and raw as a beefsteak. And the doctor, he say, man, you done marry with a hag. Then he puts her in a barrel of tar and burns she body alive. Ain't nothing else to do. Where she go that night she left her husband? Well, it's the way hag rides you. They say hag spirit can go through the keyhole of the door, and if they like you, they go in and suck the blood through your nose. Nobody except a hag likes that kind of diet, but they eat that for the syrup on the bread. When hag rides you, you make noise same like a little shivering owl. You can't wake up, and you won't wake up till somebody touches you. You call that the hag riding you. The skin-changing motif is common in hag, of which stories everywhere. The blood-sucking motive is probably from Africa. In Ashanti folklore, witches are vampires who suck the blood of their victims. Hags are also called boo hags. Some say that boo hag is more powerful than an ordinary hag, but hags are hags, others say, no matter what fancy name they are called. And any hag can cause a nightmare. It sits on the chest of the victim and smothers him. Then the hag swallows the victim's voice so that he can't call for help. Folktales reveal dozens of ways to keep a hag away from the house. A loaded gun across the head of the bed will scare a hag. It hates the smell of gunpowder. Lay a broom across the door and the hag will stop to count every straw. Sometimes the devil comes for the hag's soul. One thing is certain, a hag is not a ghost. It is the wandering spirit of an evil person who is still alive. It's been said that touching a hag by accident is a terrible experience. The thing feels like warm, raw meat. Punch it and it bounces back like rubber. The Sea Serpent, South Carolina Sea Islands. We set sail from Geneva. We sailed 2 months. The sea been smooth, just like the creek smooth. Oh, we boy get along fine. The captain was a good man. Ain't make we work overly hard. We scrub deck now and then, but that been a small bit of work. We sat down in the shade beneath the mainsail. We prank around some and we sing song. Things been going too good. The Lord ain't mean for you to have too easy sailing, no sir. Mankind gets so careless like when luck stays good. Some of the boys stop praying. They throw down praying when they pick up a card. Play casino and 7-up night after night. And the master ain't like that kind of going on. Come a day when we get to the place where the oceans start to curve around Charleston's side. The ocean flat like a pancake most of the way. I expect we've been about 100 miles offshore. Lord, it been calm. Never in my born life did I see the ocean so quiet. The sail flutter and we stop move. I ain't like the way things look, and the captain ain't like them neither. Watch out when the sea get glassy. I, an old sailor man, you know, and put my opinion upon the sign I observed while sailing round the world. Yes, we been stopped dead and we track. Ain't move an inch for 3 whole hours. The sky blazing blue and God, the sun hot. I wipe the sweat off my forehead and wait. Just wait. All of a sudden, I hear a stir in the water off the port side. For a minute, I think it been a porpoise playing round or maybe a shark. But I wrong. I did wrong. A big head stick up. What a head. He patterned after snake, and he got ugly eye and scale all over him. No mistake. The thing, a sea serpent, sure as God make the world. Then the bodies start to rise, and I notice close. It been big, round as a hogshead, and cover over with grease. I yell to the captain. I say, "Oh, boss man, a sea serpent off the port side, and I think he's coming on board." The captain make answer, "Let him be, boy. If he come aboard, he come aboard. Ain't no help for him. It's God's will." All hands gather around then. They run to the port side and the ship lists over with the weight. The boys stand there with their mouth wide open and their eye fair to pop out of their head. The thing take a grab on a hatch hinge and hoists himself up over the side. We part away and let him pass. He crawls slow, like across the deck, and leave a greasy track where he been, just like lard been laid down. I's a church-going man, but I tremble that day. I tell you, the captain got ye hand on the Bible. Them bad card-playing boys start for its prey. Too late, boy. God doesn't send trouble on we. The thing keep on crawling. "Please, master." He reached the main-mast and started to climb. He got up the mast just like snake climbing a great tree and ain't stopped till he got to the tip-top. All the time he breathed hard like boar hog and spattered down lard upon top we head. Everyone stands stock still. Nobody move an eyelash. We too afraid. The serpent twists around and around the mast so tight that I hear the wood crack. Then he cast his eye down and looked right in my eye. I never look in sea serpent eye is anyhow? By and by he start to crawl down. He come slow, afraid he fall maybe. One of the boy take up tackle block and chuck at the serpent. The block hit him square on the head, but he ain't seem to mind. Just wink one eye and keep on going. The captain yell out, "You done it now. Ain't I tell you to leave that serpent alone? Bad luck to follow we now." The thing on deck now. Everybody back and let him pass. He take he own good time and grease up the board just like before. He get to the edge of the deck and then he crawl over the side, and soon we are splash. The sea serpent going down to he home beneath the ocean. 2 hours pass and a big wind blow up from the east. The sail belly out and we fly along, same as bird. When night come, the wind get briefer and briefer, and the thunder crash and the lightning split the sky. We take down every bit of canvas then, all expecting the jib. It been the worst storm I ever experienced in 30 years at sea. He blow and he blow. He blow the lifeboat away and take the cook cabin off. He strip all the hair off the captain's head clean, and that ain't all the wind done. He moved the stove from where he been and put it in the hog pen, and he moved the hog and put him up in the captain bed. Everything been mix up. The wind take all we clothes from we. When the storm over, we naked as jaybirds. But thank the good master, all on board safe. When the wind calmed down, we knock off work for 1 full hour and fall on we knee and thank God for he mercy. We promise not to play card again, and we promise exactly not to chuck at sea serpent or any of he creature. The next morning, we catch sight of St. Philip Church steeple, and we raise a great shout. Home once more, thank you, Jesus. You bring us through, all the way from Chini to Charleston. When I get to Edisto Island and see my wife and 8 head of children, I start to think upon the sea and the terrible time I gone through. The sea serpent came back to me in my dream night after night, so I make up my mind to stay right and home from then on. Ain't a living soul can get me back on the ocean again. No, sir, not after I looked in the sea serpent eye. Sea serpents appear in English and Irish folktales and are a symbol of power in African religions. They are rare, however, in African American tales, probably because there were few black sailors to hear and retell the stories. The storyteller used some words with an EE ending, Chini for China, thank-ye for thank you. This pronunciation is left over from the Pidgin English, the forerunner of Gullah. Pidgin developed because everyone involved in the slave trade spoke a different language. People combined the simplest part of words from all the language, and a common shorthand speech was born. So that's 2 stories.